stick with the European theme. What a night for Manchester United, who beat Lyon 5-4 after extra time in one of the most incredible matches Old Trafford has ever seen to reach the Europa League semi-finals. There is the potential of an all-English final with Spurs, who are also in the semis. For now, their focus turns to Wolves in the Premier League. What a night for Manchester United fans. I mean, have you seen the meme of the little kid who was crying and then at the end, that's the agony and ecstasy we experience as football fans, right?
Absolutely. There is no other sport that can take you on such extreme highs and lows as football. I was talking to a colleague of mine who was at the game last night, and he was saying up to 75 minutes, Man United were best performance under Amorim, and they were heading into the semi-final. Then the next 45, half hour, say, they were the worst, and Amorim was going to get the sack because Lyon had come back and scored from 2-0 down and scored 4 goals with 10 men. And then suddenly, it was party time at Old Trafford, and all the fans who had left at 4-2 were trying to get back in to see the 2 late goals and join in the celebrations. Terrific for Manchester United, terrific for Amorim, terrific for Harry Maguire as well. And I think you have to talk about that night in relation to 1999 and York and Solskjaer scoring those late goals, sorry.
That's all right. No.
Because it really was one of... I'd probably go even a stage further and say not just one of the best nights in Old Trafford history, but that might be one of the best finishes we have ever seen in a European, in any game, really. I think it was the first time that 2 goals have been scored in the 120th minute of a European tie ever.
Unbelievable scenes, and you can understand why all the Manchester United fans I have on my socials have suddenly, you know, they've got something to celebrate. It's been such a difficult season for them. And to hear Ruben Amorim say that he's just going to play the kids in the Premier League now, how do we feel about that? Do you understand it? Would you, as a United fan, if you were one to back him, say, I get it, go and win the trophy?
Well, last night was so important for them to remind themselves it's possible. They're a big club, but the fans have been spoiled for many years, and in recent years it was tough for them. They want to catch up with some of the other teams, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal even, and that's why that was important. I don't think that's going to change everything under Amorim, but it was a great atmosphere, and that's the way he talked about it, that sound, he wants that sound again. He'll get that sound if they win European competition. But then to move on next season, they've got a long way to go. It's been a tough season for Amorim when he came in. I expected more. And I don't think it's just the manager's fault. The whole club is in a transition period, and they need to sort it out on many different levels. There isn't just one person to blame, but last night was a great reassurance how good they can be.
Yeah, what do you think about I'll play the kids in the Premier League?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what some of the other clubs in the Premier League might think of that. But at the same time, you know, it's his job to manage his squad as he sees fit. And that game would have taken a lot physically and emotionally, you'll know far better than me, of the players. So you can understand why he would look to put in whatever players don't have that many legs in them for the next few games so that the players can come back fresh. This is a huge moment for Manchester United, because if after losing 14 matches in the Premier League, they were to make it into the Champions League, courtesy of winning the Europa League, he's had a real result, a real result.
And there's a history with Manchester United playing kids.
Yes.
So maybe Ruben Amorim, you know, he read in the books or did his research, playing kids at Manchester United, you can actually win something.
Spurs are in the other semi-final, so there is a potential collision course between those two. In a potential final, do you think all would be forgiven? Same for Postecoglou as well, because you've got 2 managers who have performed way below expectation in the Premier League, and yet if they get to a final and potentially win a trophy, should that clear the slate? Should that buy them more time?
Well, it's still a long way to go for both of them. If one of the 2 wins a Europa League title, then of course there's a time to celebrate. But in your analysis regarding the season, every single game, what happened, you got to be quite, you know, strict with yourself and say, you know, does this victory overshadow everything, or do we say, you know, we're delighted with a trophy, but too many things went wrong, we've got to make changes, whatever they're going to be. So it's a difficult one, because Manchester United last season, they won the FA Cup, they kept the manager was allowed to spend a lot of money. only to then change the plan midway through the season, and it's a really difficult decision.
I think Amorim's got a better relationship with the United fans than Postecoglou with the Spurs fans, and 17 defeats in the Premier League out of 32 games so far. That doesn't weigh in his favour. And so of the two, if either were to win the Europa League, I think Amorim would have more chance of staying than Postecoglou.
Since we've been mentioning Spurs, Wolves beat them last time out and was quite a convincing win. Actually, Wolves are flying ahead of their trip to Old Trafford.
4 wins in a row, and they could, well, 2 good stats are actually. They could complete the double over United for the first time since 1980, so 45 years. But even better, they could win 5 games in a row for the first time since 1970, which would, at the top flight, I should say, which would be terrific. And why have they done it? Because their head coach, Vitor Pereira, has put some confidence back into the side. They're playing with belief again. They're harassing defenders and they're producing this. It's terrific to see from them. And even though they are away from home, if United play the kids, then I could see maybe the feel-good factor being replaced with a little bit of frustration. And that's quite key. I'll just hand over to you, but that's quite key because I think they've really recaptured at Old Trafford the feel-good factor. Everyone's buzzing from the climax to the game against Lyon. You're mentioning, and I can see that kids thing. If they were then to have a really underwhelming performance, could they lose that feel-good factor?
There is that danger for sure. And I saw Manchester United this season under Amorim where I thought, OK, this is the change, Liverpool. It was a really good performance. It was a draw in the end. But the way they played as a team, they defended, they were disciplined. I thought now their season is going to go, everything is going to go in the right direction. And it didn't. They beat Manchester City. That wasn't a game changer for them. That's why last night, great memory, but it's not going to change everything. If they, like you said, play with a young group of players and it doesn't come off, the mood will change very quickly.
OK, well, Manchester United are into the Europa League semi-finals, and so